Hello, I'm John and welcome to my channel, Disquiet and Dragons. In today's video I'm going to be answering the questions from the New York Booktag. So I was tagged by Cliff at Cliff's Dark Gems. I'll put his channel information in the description. If you haven't checked his channel out, he's got an awesome channel. He talks mainly about horror and he talks about like more popular horror, and he regularly talks about a book that I've never heard of. He speaks so well about the horror genre and well worth checking him out. But he was ever so kind and he tagged me in the New York Booktag. So I've got my, please excuse me, I'm having to read the questions off my tablet. So let's get started with question 1, which is your favourite book set in or around New York. I struggled to think of one for this question, but then I realised recently I'd read Rosemary's Baby by Ira Levin. Rosemary's Baby, it's about a married couple and they live in New York, and they finally get the chance to move into a building called the Bramford, which is where lots of actors and well-known people live. And the story follows their journey. They move into this new apartment and Rosemary becomes pregnant, and the neighbours seem to take an awful lot of interest in Rosemary and her pregnancy, and things aren't quite what they seem at the Bramford. Absolutely brilliant novel, very, very dark in places. If you are going to read it, maybe check the content warnings because it does get pretty rough in a couple of places, but well worth reading. Fantastic horror classic, Rosemary's Baby. And the next question is, New York is famous for its skyscrapers. What is the highest building you have been up to? I haven't actually been in many big buildings, so I'm going to kind of cheat a little bit with the wording on this one, and I'm going to literally go with the highest building, which was the cafe at the top of Mount Snowdon in Wales. I remember my friend and I, we hiked all the way up Snowdon. We got to the cafe. We had our cameras. We were hoping to take some beautiful shots. It was just covered in fog. Couldn't see a thing. We were absolutely shattered by the time we got to the top. We had a coffee and we cheated a bit and we got the train down. There's a little steam train that goes up and down the mountain all day. So yeah, we cheated, got the train all the way down. But if you're ever in Snowdonia, it's well worth going the hike up, even if it is on a foggy day and you can't see much. Right, so question 3 is New York, New York, so good they named it twice. What is the last book you reread? The last book I reread was Silver in the Wood by Emily Tesh. It's the first in a duology. Quite short books, doesn't take very long to read, but they're kind of whimsical fantasy. And it's about a gentleman named Tobias who lives in these woods. He really enjoys the solitude of the woods, and he's actually friends with the dryads, the trees. And one day, this other guy just comes strolling along, and it turns out that it's Mr. Silver, and he actually owns the hall that's next to the woods, and the woods become his. And it's about Tobias, who he enjoys his privacy. He's quite a lonely character, and it's about how him and Mr. Silver become friends. There's a bit more going on apart from that, but to tell anything else, it kind of spoiled the story a bit. But it's a fantastic book. It's possibly got the most beautiful descriptions of woodland I've ever read in a book. It's just wonderful. One of my favourite books of all time, I think. It's a brilliant book. So next question, question 4. American Psycho was a disturbing novel set in New York. What is the most disturbing book you have read? I'm going to go with a couple of books here. One is very well known, but the other one, I don't see many people talking about it. But the well-known book is The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum, which it's an amazing book, but it's a difficult book to recommend because it's absolutely harrowing. The things that happen in it are just it's a difficult read. It's about this young kid. The woman that lives next door, she takes in her two nieces, and it basically tells the story of how she abuses these two girls. It's a very difficult read. It's an amazing book. It's brilliantly written, but it's just so tough to read. The other disturbing book, and I haven't really heard anyone talk about this. It's not horror. It's actually a thriller called The Last Thing to Burn by, I think it's by Will Wright. It's about this woman. She comes from South Korea, and she finds herself in this country. She's been people traffickers have taken advantage of her parents and her sister, and she lives in this remote farmhouse. I think it's by the sea or an estuary or something, and she lives with this farmer, and he is absolutely awful. He's one of the most despicable people I've ever read about in fiction, and the way he abuses this poor woman, it had me in tears in one part. It's just harrowing what she goes through, and it's got a real twist to it as well. It's well worth reading. I've seen it quite often on Kindle for quite cheap, but if you see it in one of the deals, well worth reading. And that's The Last Thing to Burn. On to the fifth question, which was, where were you when 9/11 happened? I was at work. I used to work as a civil servant, so when it actually happened, we automatically went on like high alert, and I can't really say too much more, but yeah, it was a surreal day just seeing how something on the other side of the world can affect the entire world. I mean, it was such a horrific tragedy, and yeah, it's difficult to talk about it. I mean, it affected so many people, even people that aren't American, and yeah, even to this day, it still brings up a lot of bad memories for a lot of people. Yeah, it was horrific. Anyway, yeah, that was a bit of a sad note. Yeah, on to question 6. What is your favourite movie set in New York? I would say the new Spider-Man films. I'm not a huge comic book person, but I just thought the new Spider-Man films were just amazing. They're just so full of action, and Spider-Man's such a likeable character as well, and they're just well-made, good action films. The other one that I was thinking of saying was Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is bloody brilliant. So yeah, Spider-Man or Ghostbusters, either one of those. Question 7, have I ever been to New York? Simple answer, no, never been. I don't think I ever will go to New York because big cities absolutely terrify me. I would probably get off the plane and spend the entire week just worrying and never leaving my hotel room. So yeah, I prefer places with trees and scenery, I'm afraid. On to question 8. Who is your favourite painter from New York? Not really into arts, and I honestly couldn't name a painter from New York, so apologies, I'll have to skip that question. Question 9. What is your favourite song about New York? I'm going to go back to, it's a song that's about 9/11, and it's called The Evil Has Landed by a band called Testament. They're a thrash band. Absolutely phenomenal song. Like a lot of metal, it's not afraid to deal with difficult subjects and have a difficult subject as the influence for the song. It details what happened on the day of 9/11, and musically it's just an amazing mid-paced thrash song. It's got an absolutely searing guitar solo. If metal's your thing and you've not checked out Testament, oh, they're amazing. Next question, and that's question 10. New York is seen as the publishing capital of the world. What is your favourite publishing house? It's a bit of a difficult one because I don't really take much notice of what publishing houses publish what books. If a book sounds good, I'll buy it whatever publishing house they put it out. But because I've just started using NetGalley, I'll be completely honest, I've had a couple of books from Titan Books, and they are so user-friendly to new people on there. The first request I put in on NetGalley was for Ronald Malfi's new book, and I thought, oh, he's a big author, a well-known author, and he's Titan, who are a big company. I'll request it, but I've got no hope of getting this. And like within an hour, I'd been granted a copy. So yeah, I'm going to go with Titan Books. And they also put out some really, really good horror. I'm reading one at the moment called A Botanical Daughter that's been put out by them. Oh, it's amazing. Once I've read it, I do want to talk about it on the channel. So, but yeah, if gothic, plant-based Frankenstein in Victorian era sounds like your kind of thing, check out A Botanical Daughter. It's awesome. So final question, what is your favourite Broadway show or musical? I'm a metalhead and musicals aren't really my thing, so I thought this was going to have to be another question that I skip, but then I realised I have actually seen a musical that has been on Broadway. I saw it at the Alexandra Theatre in Birmingham a couple of years ago, and that was Rock of Ages. And I want words with Rock of Ages. Don't call yourself Rock of Ages and then don't have the song Rock of Ages in it. It's not good. It's disrespectful to Def Leppard. But yeah, I really enjoyed the musical, which it was brilliant. The musicians and the actors on it, they were phenomenal. And it was a really good set list of rock songs. Really enjoyed it. So yeah, my favourite Broadway show or musical, I'm going to go with Rock of Ages. So that's my answers to the New York book tag, and it's time to tag a couple of channels. So I'm going to tag Justin over at Read More Books, and I'm going to also tag Shelf Esteem. They're both amazing channels. I'll put their details in the description as well. Brilliant content from both of them, and I really enjoy how positive both of their channels are. Yeah, so they're the two channels that I'm going to tag. Also, if you're watching this and you'd like to do the tag, consider yourself tagged. If you do a video answering the questions, please tag me in it so I can see your answers. That brings us to the end of this video. Thank you again for watching. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed, liked or commented on any of my videos. And that's it for now. So enjoy what you're reading. Take care. Bye.